Alright, so we got Tom here first. Yeah, probably get clicky. I usually don't do that myself. I usually have other people watch the traffic and stuff, and I just do the SEO. But I believe the people that I work with use get clicky. Some of them use Google Analytics, but then I just don't put too many sites on one account. And I do use Google Analytics for a couple of my sites. I have it for KLKS just because it's an example site. Then like a couple others, and that's it for that account. From Tim. To juice your site, it depends what you want to do to juice it. You can use the PBN Reloaded method. I'm going to shoot a new video on that this week, showing people the proper way to juice up your money site with the PBN Reloaded. So you don't just have to use that on your blog network sites, but you can also use it to juice up a money site, and I'll show you how to do that. But there will be a video coming on that probably early this week. And then you can also use GSA. Jimmy has some pretty in-depth training on GSA. I don't know how much of it is in the members area. I'll have to take a look, but there should be some GSA training in the members area too. From Tom. They should have moved if they were decent links and they're clean with the right anchor text, Tom. So my guess would be the source of the links or the anchor text you use, possibly, because they definitely should have moved, or it hasn't been enough time. Depends how long ago you did it. Alright, from Faisal. Um, yeah, some people complain about that. I guess messages don't come through. I'm on my other computer, so I will check for you really quick. I'm just checking to see if hopefully you have the same name. I can just add you now. Looks like you might be under a different name, Faisal. Try messaging me again or email david@omgmachines.com if you can't get through. Because sometimes if we're not friends yet, messages won't come through. I don't know why, but yeah, some people have complained that they've sent messages and I just don't get them. So, from Damien. Yeah, you can definitely do that, Damien. No doubt about it. And it'll start getting the domain authority higher on that. From Tom. I don't really pay attention to that stuff too much, Tom. Tags, I wouldn't do too many because they can definitely lead to over optimization if you start using too many. I had a site once where I had like tons and tons of tags just to test stuff, and the site ended up dropping a whole bunch. And I was pretty sure it was a tag, so I took them off and it came right back up. So I don't really mess with tags that much. If I do, I kind of just keep them general. Same thing with image alt tags. I usually just keep them general. Like if I'm doing electronic cigarettes, and I'm targeting electronic cigarette brands, I might just name it electronic cigarette, woman smoking, something like that. So I don't usually worry about it too much. I keep it more general. So I mean, your true power is going to come from the title, the URL, and the anchor text, and of course the source of the link. From Patrick. For my PBNs, I don't do silos. I just put all the posts, make sure they're on the home page. So I don't do silos for my PBNs, Patrick. You can have different niches on a money site. I mean, there's huge sites out there that do that. Just make sure you silo them, like you're saying. I'm not sure about that with Social Explosion, Patrick. You would have to ask Russell and Sue. So I'm not sure if you can like separate them like that. But what you can do is, Patrick, is I'm going to show a video on how to juice your money site this week, which is basically creating a subdomain, putting it. If anyone knows how to do this, you create a subdomain, okay, and you do that through the cPanel, and then you just set up WordPress on the subdomain, and then you set up PBN Reloaded on the subdomain. That's it, okay, and it juices up the whole domain. But for anyone that doesn't understand that, I'm going to shoot a video on it today, or maybe early this week. I should have it ready. From Heidi. Is it de-indexed, Heidi, or is it penalized, are you saying? I mean, if it's de-indexed, then they totally took it out of their search engine. So, if your site, this is how you check. If your site was this.com, that means it's de-indexed. Nothing shows up at all, okay? But if it is indexed, even if it's penalized, it'll still show up. So if you do like omgmachines.com, we have stuff showing up, okay? But if nothing shows up like the previous one I did, then it's de-indexed. If that happens, you're you're in trouble probably. You might maybe do like a re-index request to them. But I've never tried it. For penalties, it depends what the penalty is. If you have like a spam penalty, it's a lot harder to fix. You have to go out, try to remove a bunch of those links. You can try the disavow tool, and then from there you can do a reconsideration request. But if it's just an over-optimization, you can under-optimize. Like if you use your blog network for all the links and you know it's over-optimized just from that, you can just change the anchor text, and I do that all the time. But if it's a bunch of links you can't control, you're going to have to probably get them taken down. Alright, from Brett. Brett, you actually don't need branded anchor text, but with that said, I am starting to see the branded anchor text can help. It seems like there's a lot more sites coming up with branded anchor text, with more branded anchor text that are ranking good. But at the same time, I have sites with no branded anchor text that are, ranking great, top of the search engines. So, if you want to do branded anchor text, you can use your PBNs. Press releases are great for that, probably, Brett. I see a lot of people use them. Social bookmarking can be good for that, but at the same time, you don't need it. But I want to make sure it's clear that it looks like it's starting to be more and more important. And we did expect that. We know Google likes branding, but you still can rank with no branded anchor text. And actually, most of my sites have very little branded anchor text still. I should probably start testing like with a bunch of branded anchor text and a little bit of money keywords, and I actually want to do that. So, just because I see so many sites coming up with branded anchor text, so But yeah, press releases would be good for that. I wouldn't use a press release for money keywords though, just because it goes to so many different places with like the same content, same stuff. If you have a URL link, it's a lot safer. And then also social bookmarks, Web 2.0, stuff like that. From Heidi. Heidi, try going to WordPress.org and downloading it from there. See if that helps you. What the? Oh, here it is, right here. Alright, so just click on that, download it from there, and see if it works from there. From Jonathan. You can change the theme. You don't change any URLs, Jonathan, but you can change the content. Just try to keep the anchor tag, or not the anchor tag, the keyword density relatively the same, but you can totally change the content and be fine. As long as you're not taking out the keyword totally when you change the content and keeping it somewhat close as far as keyword density, you'll be totally fine. And of course, don't change any URLs. What's up, Pete? From Tom. You don't have to do that, Tom. Again, I have sites where I have no Google Plus, I have no Facebook, I have no nothing like that. I'll show you an example right now. I've shown this example plenty of times. Delaware Barbershop. Okay, this is just one link right here. A friend's, and here's their video now. This is just one link from my PBN, and relatively weak PBN too. Okay, and it ranks #1 for all this type of stuff. One of my other friends owned a CrossFit gym, and I just sent a link about 4 days ago for best Delaware gyms. You guys can actually watch this in action. And he hasn't even changed his title for me yet, and here he is right here at #8. Okay, and this was just a few days ago with no title optimization and one link. Okay, I believe he's even page 2 for Delaware gyms. And again, he doesn't really have, I mean, he has a Facebook, but it's not like connected like we do. And here he is on page 2 for Delaware gyms. Again, that's one link. So most of the power is going to come from your PBNs. The social stuff is just going to, help. But Tom, if it's not moving, I wouldn't say it's because of the social. It's not. There's no social. I would say there's something out with the links. Adding a persona is not necessarily going to. I don't want to say it's not going to do anything for you, but if the links aren't doing it, I wouldn't say that's going to. That's the thing to focus on. I would focus more on the links first. And then if the links don't get it to where you want, I would then focus on the social. But I would want to see a little movement before I started on that first, if that makes sense, hopefully. From Gary. I think it depends, Gary. I mean, it probably helps it, I'm sure. It's a lot of links from Google. But it's also probably the same IP. It also depends, if it's really spammy, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never tested it, so I'm not positive, Gary. I don't know exactly what you mean, exactly what it looks like, so it's hard to say. But I would imagine it would help. From Pete. I mean, you're just mixing your URLs and your titles to get as much out of them as you can. Alright, so if I'm trying to rank for, if I want to write down the keywords I want to rank for, like electronic cigarette brands, I want to rank for electronic cigarette reviews, and maybe stuff like e-cigarette brands, maybe e-cigarette reviews, Best electronic cigarette, best e-cigarettes. So I'm just writing down my top keywords I want to rank for, and I'll probably put my most important one in the URL. So maybe my most important one is electronic cigarette brands. So I'll put that as my URL. Okay. So that will take care of that a lot. Okay, so that's really going to help me rank for that. And then the rest I can mostly take care of in the title. So maybe I'll do like the best electronic, or I'll just do the best electronic cigarette brands. And then we hit electronic cigarette brands again, the title there, which is fine. And then maybe something like e-cigarette reviews 2014. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to cover as many of my most important keywords as I can. Now, of course, I'm also going to be going after other keywords, you know, like smaller variations, maybe so my second variations be like the best electronic cigarettes, stuff like that. But those are mostly are helped with these anyway because they're partly in here, and we can take care of those with anchor text, you know, the longer tail ones. The main thing I want to do is write out my main keywords and take care of the biggest one in the URL, and then take care of as many more as I can in the rest of the title. Okay, so in here I have electronic cigarette brands. Okay, and I also have it here. I got best electronic cigarette. Actually, I would probably change this to e-cigarettes because now I have a singular version of cigarette and a plural version, and that will help. And then I got e-cigarettes review. It'll also help for e-cigarette reviews. Or I'm sorry, I got e-cigarettes reviews also help for the single version review. I have 2014, so help me rank with anything with 2014 in it. So I'm just trying to get as many of these variations of this as I can between the title and the URL. So hopefully that makes sense. From Tim. Tim, that would be in the supremacy section. Supremacy section covers all that. From Janet. If it's your, I mean, it should be fine, Janet. Again, they're so high demand. I mean, it's the same thing with like YouTube. Like a lot of people don't want to link to their own YouTube channel they spend a lot of time on, but I've never lost a YouTube account or heard of someone losing a YouTube account for linking. You can always say it wasn't me, or you know, whatever the case is. So I mean, I think it's pretty safe. But again, like you said, I'm not an expert on it, but I don't see problems with that. From Jackie. You send anything to David at omgmachines.com, Jackie. So replace Greg with David. If it's something that he can't answer, he'll pass on to me. From Damien. Yeah, all the juice will still be there, Damien. But yeah, it'll just be redirected to the home page with Link Juice Keeper. So yeah, you'll be fine. From Faisal. I mean, if you find something else you like registering expired domains with, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I just like Register Compass. From Pete. I don't know totally what you're asking, but if you're saying the domain is weight loss clinics Orlando, Florida, I wouldn't repeat any of that in the inner URLs. I'll just target the home page. And I also don't necessarily like domains that long. So if it's not too far into it, you might want to do like weightlossclinicspro.com and then take care of like Orlando, Florida in the inner URLs. But like I don't know exactly what you're asking again, so show what, Janine? Just let me know. From Nathan. You could do that, Nathan. I don't see a problem with that. But Russell would be the main person to ask anything with that. But I don't see a problem with it. Alright, from Tom. Yeah, you should be fine with that, Tom. Should be fine. From Paul. They view them separately, Paul, but the subdomain links to a subdomain juice up the domain. I mean, it's still in the same domain, even though they treat them like separately. Uh, but a link to a subdomain will still boost the authority of the domain. All right. So you are right; they do kind of view them differently, but at the same time, sending it to the subdomain will juice up the domain. From Heidi. Yeah, if you're talking about PBN Reloaded, that's fine. You can do that. I don't remember what Damien's question was, Janine. From Patrick. You can try, Patrick. Try that, and then send in a reconsideration request. But it'll probably take a while. Usually, it's not worth it for me. I've never even tried it because I hear it just takes so long. From TD. Not necessarily. As long as there's good links in there and the anchor text's pretty good, I think that it will be fine. TD. But I'll have to see. It's case by case. But if there's good links in there, I'll usually get it no matter what, unless there's like tons and tons of spammy links. From Bob. Shows PR. I don't use microsite masters for PageRank, Bob. I don't even really worry about PageRank that much. I use microsite masters for checking where my keywords are ranked. From Janet. No, they see it whenever it was registered, Janet. Now, even if you have a website from '98 and it hasn't had a website on it since '98, it's still from 1998. So, from Heidi, you can add more than one subdomain, Heidi, but I don't know how much that will do. Like, if you're saying like use PBN Reloaded on subdomain after subdomain, I don't think that's going to do too much for you because it's too much more for you, I should say, because it's the same links coming in, kinda. But I can check with Mike Pierce on that and Jimmy. It's a good question, but I personally don't think it would do that much more for you. Alright, from Jonathan. Make this a little smaller. Yeah, pretty much, Jonathan. And you went pretty slow. What I teach, I just try to do like the most safe way possible, just because I don't want anyone to run into trouble. You can definitely do them quicker than that without problems. But again, I just try to teach in the videos like the most safe way possible. Again, just to keep everyone as safe as possible. But you can definitely go quicker than that if you want, especially now that you got some links in there. But yeah, what you're saying is generally, pretty normal. You see, like, normal is I'll see a little boost or a decent boost within a few days, and then I'll see more of a boost later down the road, a couple weeks or whatever. So yeah, that's definitely normal. From Tim. I check mine in Open Site Explorer, Tim. That's what I do. From Janet. Um, I'm not totally sure, Janet. Michael Pierce would be the one to ask on that, and he's in the Facebook group, 'cause he's tested it a lot more than I have, and that's how you spell his last name, Pearse. But I mean, I think it would still give you a boost on top of that, on top of Web 2.0, and even if you're doing social bookmarking. From Pete. Not necessarily. I mean, as long as it has clean links, a drop isn't horrible, Pete. So I would say as long as it has clean links, it should be good. From Jonathan. Nah, I usually do them as I go along, Jonathan. I usually don't schedule ahead. I usually, when I want to post, I go in and make it then and there. I usually don't schedule. But that's just me. There's nothing wrong with scheduling them. From Rich. A long time, unfortunately. It takes like usually a month or so. They usually update like once a month or super slow. Yeah, so it's going to take a good month or so, depending when they index. It could take a day if they end up indexing the next day. But then any links, if you do like a link the next day, it's going to take a whole nother month. So it depends where they are in their index. Like they do like again once a month. So if you're in the middle of the month, it's going to take a couple weeks for any links you do in the middle. So it just depends when you build those links and where they are in their indexing phase. But yeah, they're very slow, unfortunately. Okay, F-A-Y. So I had it wrong. F-A-Y. I don't think we're friends, Faisal, because your name's not coming up when I put it in the ad thing. So make sure you sent me a friend request. Again, if we're not friends, that's probably why your messages aren't coming through. Of an OD abbreviation? Oh, of an abbreviation. What do you mean by change the meaning? Like ED? I don't know what you mean by change the meaning though, Janine. From Bob. I mean, in that case, I would probably use long anchor text to start, Bob. So if you have, let's say it's like the social explosion, or social explosion, whatever. And you got socialexplosion.com. I'm probably starting with stuff like the social explosion product. See where I move. Give it a few days. See how I move up. Then I might do review of social explosion. See how I move up from there. See how it reacts. Then I might go to social explosion review. And see, I'll keep moving closer and closer to that exact keyword and just see how it moves. Eventually, if I need to, I'll hit that dead-on keyword, social explosion. Okay. So that's how I would do it with an EMD like that. From Brett. I would just sit and wait, Brett. Usually if you add content, it should get re-indexed fairly quickly. But, I mean, I guess adding vCracking could help. Or an indexing service, but I don't really usually mess with that. I usually just, if it's not picked up naturally, I think there's something up. That's just me. And it should be picked up, within a week or so, a week or two at the most. And remember, it could be de-indexed because there just hasn't been a site there for so long. Like, if it's a site from 98, and the last time a site was up was 2008, it's probably not going to be indexed because there hasn't been any pages to be indexed. So it could just be that. So when you put up WordPress again, and there's a new page on it, it should get indexed naturally. Because when you put up WordPress, it automatically pings it from WordPress, and Google should pick it up if there's nothing wrong with the domain. Janine. You're talking about renaming. I don't know exactly what you mean, Janine. To energy deficit. Like erectile dysfunction to energy deficit. Both ED. I mean, I don't see how those go together, Janine. So I'm not really sure what you're trying to do there. I don't know if I'm missing something. What's up, Janet? Paul. I mean, I'll hit it if I need to, Paul. But I'll usually do like car wash in New York first, like whatever makes sense, and I'll see where I move from there. And if I just can't get it for that, like if I'm ranking for everything else and I haven't got that keyword, I'll just hit it eventually. I'll just do car wash New York. So I mean, it depends. I will hit those types of keywords, but not unless I have to. All right. Because I don't like having the unnatural anchor text, but at the same time, it's not like Google can think. They don't necessarily know it's unnatural. I mean, they can tell, like, little spelling stuff and structural stuff, I guess, but someone could use that anchor text naturally. But again, you're right, and I try not to use it unless I have to. From TD. Yes, that is true. No, a lot of branded anchor text can be really good, TD, and I think it's even getting more important. It's getting even better because Google's moving more towards like branded. They like branded stuff, and a lot of people link with anchor with branded anchor text naturally, so that's not a problem. The problem is when you do a whole bunch of money keywords as anchor text too much. And remember, the longer the anchor text is, the less you can get away with usually. Like if you got weight loss for 20% of your anchor text, or let's say like 15%, then you also have like weight loss for women over 40 years old for 15%. you would probably be alright for this keyword, but you would likely, like if you have like 1,000 links, 100 links, whatever, you'd probably get hit for this. Because what are the chances that 15 out of 100 people will link to you with this exact anchor text? Not very good, right? Because it's long, and the chances, the longer the anchor text is, the lower the chances go of it being a higher percent, naturally. But this is actually kind of, I mean, the chances are decent if your site's about weight loss, because it's only two keywords, and that's such a popular phrase. So you get what I'm saying? So a percentage of 15% for this one could get no penalty, whereas a percentage of 15% for this one will probably definitely get a penalty. Because it's just so hard to hit 15% for that exact length of anchor text. So you got to consider that when you're building your anchor text. Alright, so let's get a new screenshot. Yeah, anytime you guys have a question, make sure you totally repeat what you're asking. Like if you're asking about someone's question, just make sure you remind me because I don't remember. My memory's horrible. I'm also going through a lot of questions, so. From Heidi. Mainly solid pages and posts. I probably wouldn't if they're similar topics. I'd probably put them in the same place, Heidi. It depends what type of site it is. Try to come up with like a specific question, Heidi, if you can, or like a specific example, and ask how I'd do it. Because I don't know exactly what you would want me to cover there. So just try to be specific if you can. From Janet. Oh, cool, Janet. Hey, e-cigarettes are getting so big, I'll have to check that out. I'll come back and check that out. From Pete. If it's already on the second page, that should be fine. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a pretty long domain, but just remember with this many keywords in the domain, you got to be really careful about repeating them. You know, you're more likely to get hit with over optimization for like weight loss clinics, Orlando, Florida. Just because it's in your domain name, remember I just went over the example of the longer a keyword is, the more likely you are to get hit with more anchor text, just because there's a less of a chance of people naturally linking to that. So you're going to have to really make sure your anchor text is switched up. Like, don't keep hitting weight loss clinics, Orlando, Florida. Try to switch it up, like, you know, do like maybe like weight loss centers in Orlando, you know, weight reduction centers in Florida, stuff like you're gonna have to switch it up with stuff like that, and depends what you're trying to rank for. But I mean, if your site's on the second page, you should be fine. Pete, just be very careful with what you use for anchor text. For Nathan. What's that plugin that all? I don't know if it's a plugin, it's a service. The hell is the name of that? I can't. Try to Google it, Nathan. Try to Google auto repost to social accounts. There is a service that does that. I just can't think of the darn name right now. From Tom. You can do them all at once, Tom. I usually do like to space them out if I can, but you can do them all at once. From Bob. Could be data centers, Bob. You know, different. They could run off different data centers. It does happen from time to time where they show different, like completely different stuff. Usually it will catch up, and within a few days you'll see the same rankings that it shows. But yeah, that's just because of data centers. The East Coast has different data centers than the West Coast and all that type of stuff. All right, from Bruce. I mean, yeah, usually when a site spam Bruce, I personally just do another site. Just because it's so hard, it takes so much time, and it's all that time you spend trying to get rid of those links could be wasted because it could end up being not even be unpenalized. So, I mean, to me, it's just easier to start a new site. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but it's true, unfortunately. Usually it's just better to just start over. Unless it's like a really, really important site that you put a ton of time into, usually it's better to start over. Because I mean, it could take months and months and months to get rid of all the bad links, then reconsider, and then you're just hoping that it gets reconsidered. So, Open Site Explorer. That's Open Site, and here it is right here. OpenSiteExplorer.org. You can also go to Moz.org. That's how you get it. You got to be a member of Moz.org. From Heidi. Yeah, I know what you mean, Heidi. I get what you're asking. But it's still the same type of link, so I don't think it would help too much more if it did. From Janine. I don't see how those correlate to each other, Janine. So I don't think that would do much for you. From TD. Um, I mean, I don't usually use the Wayback Machine too much, TD. Usually, what I use it for now, is to see like when the last time the site was indexed. Again, because we were talking about earlier, it could say the site's de-indexed, but could just because hasn't been a site up for a while. So that's pretty much the most I use it for now. Oh, you're saying if a keyword doesn't have a synonym, Janine? In that case, I mean, there's not much you can do. Just try to add other words in there, like like you're saying exactly. Best treatment, symptoms. You can probably get in there. Products, stuff like that. Whatever makes sense. Just try to get as many additional keywords in there as you can. If you're trying to rank for erectile dysfunction treatment, try to get treatment in the title. If you're trying to get best somewhere in there, get best in the title. From Jonathan. Nah, probably just random, Jonathan. From Elizabeth. Yeah, you can send it to me, Elizabeth. Send it to David at omgmachines.com. I mean, just by experience, Pete. I mean, stuff like profile links and blog comments from sites that have thousands of comments already, and just stuff like that is kind of more spammy, like foreign links and Russian. A lot of people use like Russian links for spam. Whereas if it's a site that used to be about politics and there's a lot of links from politics websites, those are natural links. All right, so it's kind of looking at the anchor text and also the resource of the links and being able to tell from there. From Jonathan. Oh, absolutely, Jonathan, especially if you haven't used it yet. Now, if you start repeating the same keyword in your anchor text, again, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. It depends how long the keyword is. If I have 10 links and they're all different and I repeat this, it'll probably move it up. But if I repeat this a second time, it might actually move it down because it's so long, and the chance of that happening, go down the longer it is. So it depends on how long the anchor text is and how many other links you already have and stuff like that. But usually, yeah, it moves it up if you're not over optimized. From Tim. Uh, you only have one root domain. That's crazy. I've never seen one root domain with a domain. Well, I have actually. Um, I usually don't use those, Tim. The ones that have high domain authority but no link showing, because I don't know where the domain authority is coming from. It's not coming from just one root domain, I'll tell you that. So usually I wouldn't. Usually I like to see more root domains than just one. At least 10 or so. Unless they're really, really good links. From Tom. You don't need much content, Tom. You really don't. I mean, what I would do is maybe just put a little bit, if anything. Video should even be fine. Just video, but what I would probably do is just have the videos up there, and then if they start ranking, then you can start adding content and optimize them to how you want them to convert. But yeah, having just video up should be fine for you. You can maybe add like a little bit of content for each, but yeah, having a little bit of content is just fine. From Rich. Just from where you are in the rankings, it's probably penalized, Rich. Of course, I don't know for sure because I don't know the situation, but if you have a lot of links and your site's only page 6, then it's probably penalized. But the way you can check is send a link to it with the keywords you want to rank for, and if it doesn't move at all, then it's probably in trouble. From Jonathan. Yeah, for the most part, and I try to save my strongest links for the most important keywords. From Bruce. It takes a while, Bruce. Again, that's why I don't even mess with it. Just because I hear some people say like 6 months, which is crazy. In that time, you can have a whole other site up and built and ranked already for 4 months. So, from Pete. Yeah, but there's also a service. Hootsuite. Yes, Bruce. Thank you. Hootsuite is the one I was talking about. Exactly what I was talking about. Thank you, Bruce. From Farron. No, you should be fine, Farron. I think that's fine. From Damien. I'm not totally sure, Damien. It depends. I always mess with it and I get different results, but again, I think it depends, like if there's a location in the domain, how long the domain is. If it like is, for example, if you have and how many searches the keyword gets. So if you somehow got like weightloss.com, I think you could get away with having weight loss for 15% of the anchor text because that is a very common term. It probably gets hundreds of thousands of searches a month. So it's very common that people would link with that anchor text. Whereas if you have like Nashville SEOexperts.com, the chances of that being 15%, I think you said like 100 links, it drops dramatically, so you might not get away with this here. You might, and again, I see different results from it, but you might not. Whereas in this case, you most likely would. You know what I mean? So it really depends on how long the domain is, how common of a search it is. So I'm not sure exactly how they look at it, but I just know the longer the domain is, usually the less chance you have of getting away with it. But I'm not exactly sure like exactly how they see it, because I get different results from it. So that's why I'm always careful with how much exact match anchor I do with an EMD, especially from TD. So Damien, that's why I always gradually move towards it. You know, I've showed the SEO national SEO example and this example here. You know, it's I'm moving from long, again staying long. I'm moving a little closer to it here, where I have 3 words, just 1 additional keyword. Whereas in these I have 2 additional, and then finally I hit the exact. So you know, I just move closer and closer and closer to it to stay safe. Hopefully that makes sense. TD. Yeah, I mean, unique A class is even better, TD. So, yeah, no problem with that from Paul. Oh, cool. So there's a resource for options for that from Brett. No, Brett, I just put content pretty much when I need links now. I mean, you can do that if you want, but really, if you get a manual review, Google's going to know if it's a PBN or not. You know, it's very hard to disguise PBNs. Where if it got a manual review, then they wouldn't be able to tell. From Tom, get a new screenshot. We got a few minutes here, guys. All right, from Tom. I mean, obviously a mixture of a really good expired domain and then using PBNs to rank that is even better if you can do it. But I mean, like if I had $5,000 and I had to choose between a powerful site or like a new site and then getting PBNs, I'd probably do the PBNs, because even though like an expired domain, the domain authority's up and helps ranking those pages easier, you still have to send links to those pages to get where you want. So for example, if I have expired domain for weight loss, and this has like a domain authority of 50, and I put up a page on like targeting women over 40. Yeah, okay, it's probably, since this is my URL, it's probably going to help me rank right away, maybe, let's say like page 4 or 5 for women over 40 with no links. But then you don't have any money left for the PBNs, right? Whereas if you do a brand new domain for weightloss.com, domain authority starts at 1, and then you do new domain for weight loss, women over 40. Or let's say this one started at gets you up to like page 3, maybe page 2, depending on the keyword, the exact keyword, page 3. This one you might end up on, you might start on like page 10. But you have $5,000 worth of PBNs to rank this specific page, okay? So yeah, when you do this, it's going to help you rank further up right away. But if you're on a budget, you might not have any money left for PBNs, and you still have to send links to this exact page to get it to rank to the first page, which is where we need to be. Hopefully the top of the first page. So I'd rather have those PBNs to juice up a specific page, because you still got to hit the anchor text for those keywords, than have, just a powerful domain. Because just a powerful domain, you still need PBNs to rank those pages. Yeah, it's making it easier, but I'd rather have more PBNs with a new domain, if that makes sense. Now, if you can combine the two, that's even better, because then you start on page 3, and it takes even less PBN links to move it up to page 1. But if you're on a budget, I would go with the PBN first. And also, you can use those PBNs for other sites. Whereas in this case, you spend all your money on one domain. And now you have not much money to move it up from page 3. So my focus would start on the PBNs, Tom. From Tim. No, you're not hounding, Tim. We're almost out of time, though, here. So if I don't, make sure you send the email to david@omgmachines.com if I don't cover exactly what you need. And it's, something to rush. But for checking the root domain, I mean, you type it in. Now you just do www.slate.com. Whatever it is, that's how you check the root domain. From TD. No, I use SEO hosting. The most I do on one server usually is like 50. But, I have a lot of sites. I have well over 500. When you're starting out, if you only have like 20 sites, maybe you can split them up between 1 or 2, and you should be fine. But when you have that low amount of sites, I wouldn't worry too much about that type of thing, because it's not like a huge network. Whereas with my network, 500 plus sites, I have a good 20 different servers that I use. From Paul, I would not use them at all. And again, I've said this before. Just if you go search anything, what shows up? .com, 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 .com. You always see .com, .org, .net for the most part. Okay, very little other stuff appears on the first page besides .com, .org, and .net. So I always use those 3. And it's 5 o'clock, so I'm going to go see if any more questions came in. There's a couple more here. So I'll take a screenshot, cover these last ones, and then we'll get rolling. Ken, it is HOOTSUITE, I believe. Hootsuite. I can go check it really quick. I believe it's HOOTSUITE. Yeah, and that is it. Hoot and then sweet. TD. Oh, I skipped Ken's question there. Okay, sorry about that, Ken. Pete. Okay, awesome. See if there's any more questions. Tom. It depends what anchor text was used, Tom, but you basically want to use any keywords that you want to rank for as the anchor text. I would start with long tails and move the way towards the big keywords. But it depends what key. I'll have to check your site and what we used. Yeah, definitely possible to rank without a PBN. People do it with spam still. It's just more complicated. Press release, Web 2.0. But I think PBN is the easiest way to go. From Josh. Alright, awesome. Alright, so that's it for this session, guys. I'll probably set the next session for either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And I'll know in the next day or two what day it is. Alright, and I'll get this recording over to David tonight, and it should be up tomorrow if you guys wanted to check it out. Alright guys, thanks for coming out. I will see you all in the next webinar.